Right, so time to pop this lovely terrain together. So should be hopefully quite a simple process, this. Very easy to follow. Push fit terrain, which isn't really a bother for me because you just want to get terrain together as quickly as possible so you can use it. Now, I'm going to start off by doing let's have a look, the shards to begin with, which, beautiful, like, big, huge crystal structures here. What I like about these is if you have ever got the rock gut troggoths, they actually have things like this. So if you've got some of those, you can actually paint them so that maybe the crystals match. The rock guts, they rip up whatever's around to use as a weapon. So, okay, E1, E2 and E3. So this seems like it's going to be quite simple. Maybe a good idea just to separate the other one out for now, just to make it easier to handle. Right. So you can see that there are quite a lot of mold lines on this one. Now, as much as I really want to get those mold lines tidied up and away, that is definitely something I can deal with a bit later on outside the video. Not because it's quite a lot of mold lines actually by the look of it, and I really don't want to be at it for absolutely ages, just scraping at plastic when I'm just trying to do a straight up how to pop it together. Plus, with it being push fit, I can pop it all together and then pop it all back out again if I can't reach the part that I'm after. So yeah, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm just going to clean off the injection points. I mean, there is quite a heavy set of mould lines on some of these, which isn't great. Where's my scraping tool? I don't want to slice my finger open doing these parts, do I? Yeah, I need to get one of these with a proper handle, because obviously too much risk of slipping with this. And although the tool isn't sharp per se, I'm sure if I hit it with enough force onto my skin, it's probably going to do quite a bit of damage. Okay, so nice and simple with this one by the look of it. Just got to line up those two pins. Just nice and simple over here. You can see it's quite loose, so I'll probably glue that later on, but I won't glue it now. As I said, lots and lots of mould lines to clear up before I kind of permanently stick it down. Then you've got this beautiful big crystal in the middle. I have to admit, I'm really tempted to check the local stores to see if I can get another one of this terrain, more than anything else because it's got some lovely features that I'd like to use, like the huge skull. So okay, there's our first little one done, nice and simple. And now moving on to C1, C2, which is this lovely huge skull and the base that it goes on. Yeah, I was looking at the things you get with this, and it looks like you could use it for so many things, including kit bashing in the future. So I'm definitely kind of like, ooh, something that I like the idea of. I mean, look at that, the huge, beautiful skull there. There's no doubt about it. It's a beast. Honestly, I could imagine turning that into something really cool. I mean, my first obvious thing in my head is potentially a demon head. So maybe either a corn or undivided demon head. In fact, I've just realised where this would look really cool. On a Chaos Knight. Scale-wise, it would fit on a knight. It's, you know, got the right size and proportions. Obviously, it would take a bit of work to make sure that they're lined up, but you can make a beautiful cornate Chaos Knight. Sort of well on its way to possession. Anyway, that's one of my 40k stuff rather than Age of Sigmar, but yeah, so I'm wondering if I can go out and go and find some more of this. Just so I've got them for when I've got the itch to convert something. So yeah, it's by the look of it, we just need to pop the taller parts onto the back, and it looks like this should just be a nice slot in. Brilliant. So there we go. That's our huge skull, all nicely done. Moving on now to the dead beast. So F1, F2. Quite a large, solid piece of terrain, this. Interesting what the terrain is like on this. The terrain seems to be more designed to create obstruction and hazard more than anything else. So obviously, quite often on some games that you play, terrain is there to you know, raise up, show hills, you know, be tactical positions. But the interesting thing about this terrain is it seems to be deliberately obstructive, which I like the idea of. So it's not just a straight up, you know, you have to very carefully plan where you're headed, you know, how to get the best cover and things. So yeah, it definitely seems quite an interesting one. And then F2, this lovely rib cage here. Again, it's beautiful, huge thing, and I could just imagine again using this here for a conversion of something later on. Gosh, I just thought actually, if you ever fancied a zombie dragon, a scratch built zombie dragon, I assume this would be a fantastic thing to base it on. Then you just kind of use green stuff and a few other little tips and tricks to create a lovely zombie dragon. Okay, so these bones will point up. There we go. So the kind of the cage, the other half of the spine is kind of already on this there. So it's the back of the spine. You just kind of sliding it in and on. There we go. so that the ribs are coming upwards. Then we're going to get F3, which is, it's like a pelvic bone. Yeah, I'm just seeing how cool this would be as a starting point. I'm going to end up slicing my thumb off with trying to force that bit off, aren't I? Yeah. Always be mindful when you're using a scalpel because it's so easy to put a bit too much pressure on. Now, this is, let's have a good look here. Looks like it's, so the ribs bend over this way, and you got this pelvic bone. That one goes down to the floor, which means that this looks like it slots into there. There we go. So that you end up with those 2 points technically joining together like that, although, you know, might need to glue that at some point because you can see it doesn't quite perfectly fold into each other. Then what we've got is we've got F4, knows, isn't it? Watch out for the obvious dead beast, but as I said, everything about this like screams potential to build a zombie dragon out of, or something, or some kind of hideous like dead risen beast. Right, so then this is arcing over the top, so turn it this way. The horn is heading downwards. Oh, it looks like it slots in there. Perfect. Yeah, that's gone in. F5, and I think this is the last piece now, F5 of this one. go. Oh, a couple of little injection points there that I haven't cleaned up properly. Right, and then this is obviously going to fold onto the other side to create this great beast. There we go, dead great beast to be precise. Right, there we go. So there's the huge dead great beast. Now, vents. Let's move on to these vents now. So D1 and then D2. So we got, that's B. I need D. Over here. Right, and then D2, this little one. Let's just get the position on this correct. So looks like it heads into this first one. Ooh. Is it like that? Let me just check the feel. Yeah, just got to twist it around to get the right position, and then we are going to go on to D3, second small one. Like this heads to the other side over here. Just about working out the way it goes in. There we go. And here we go for 3. This big one here. think this will need a bit of gluing when it's all finally painted, because that one does shuffle around a bit. And then we got this big one on the back. Now, just having a quick look, because yeah, there's like, oh yeah, there's like a little point at the front where it's dented, but I think that's supposed to be like an open vent with no steam coming out of it. Right, let's see where we're up to. Well, we got things like, I think this is just a nice easy one. You just cut out the bubbling pool. Yeah, it is. It's just the bubbling pool. It's just A on its own. You don't even need to do anything with this one. Nice and simple, the bubbling pool, and now the tentacles. So here we go. It's a baby sarlacc by the look of it. Okay, so we've got B2. Again, you know, these tentacles, I can just see so many potential conversions that you could make using them in the future. So I think if I can find another copy of this issue, I'll definitely be looking at grabbing hold of them. I want to get these done because I want to start the dragon, but I want to make sure I've kind of, you know, want to make sure that before I start that long job, I've done all the little jobs, because it's probably going to be quite exhausting to do the whole thing, and I might end up completely sort of shut down afterwards. So I think finishing all the little jobs first is the main one here. So let's get B2 in. Let me just check the positioning of this. So if I pop this over this side, quite interesting placements of these. I'm going to assume that you have to get them spot on every single time. So like, the position is quite strange when you just look at it. So we've got B2. It feels actually like this is coming out at an angle, and I need a few of the others, because I've just realised B2 is like the last on the list. So let me find B3 here, try and get this on. have a look at this now. So we got B through, squiggling from the side here. So it looks like it probably goes. Not usually work out exactly where these bits are going. It feels like it's over here, but possibly like that. Yeah, that feels right. That one there. So that one's in. Then we need B4. B4 feels like it kind of heads off in this direction. It's just strange working out the perfect positioning on these, because it doesn't just seem to slot in as you would expect. I think what they should have done when they were doing the instructions is maybe even done it from a top-down point of view, you know, rather than the way it has been done, because it's very difficult to work out exactly how things are placed. Ooh. Yeah, because if that's slightly off to the side, it feels like that should kind of pop in here and kind of scroll off on this way. That's how it feels it goes, but it doesn't seem too happy with that positioning. It seems to be where it goes. It's just not, you know, it feels very odd. Like it just feels like it's in the wrong place somehow. See how it goes. Right, let's get B5. Yeah, I think what they should have done on this one with the instructions is, because it is a complicated setup, they should have made sure that it went a top-down view rather than one angle, and you can't always see what pin they're putting it in. Okay, now this one is squirming off in this direction. Ow. Oh gosh. There we go, that one in there. That one definitely seems to push into that one. Then you've got this one heading this way. Again, it's just really being able to get your leverage on it without potentially slicing your fingers. And then finally this one looks like it finally fits in there. Gosh, that was a difficult little one to do, but there we go. That's how it all kind of slots together. And there we have it. That is the terrain nicely built. And you know what? I like it. It's some good terrain. It adds to the quality of the battlefield. But as you can see, this terrain is very obstructive and less about, you know, getting the high ground or anything like that. It's about actually hiding movements. It's about being tactical around it. So it's very interesting set up, and I'm interested to see how these work on the battlefield. So there we go. That is the last bit of terrain to do. I'm going to probably finish building my Death Corps kill team and before I even attempt that dragon. So stay tuned for me doing the premium kit, hopefully within the next few days.